Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a great week so far. So I've noticed on social media lately that because so many people are in their homes and not going out as much and kind of stuck in one place, that people are reconnecting with themselves in a really powerful way. They're rediscovering practices that maybe they have abandoned for a long time and kind of relearning themselves. And I think it's really awesome and really empowering and definitely a silver lining in this whole thing. And so I wanted to talk about something that I haven't talked about in a long time that I think could be relevant and could come into this whole thing. If you have been here for a while, you may remember that quite some time ago I put out a video about crystals and all about my favorite crystals and their properties and so on and so forth. And if you haven't seen it, you can check it out here. I will link it. But that was the last time that I talked about them. It's been a hot minute, and I thought that I would return to the subject today because crystals are really awesome tools that you can use to advance and grow in your personal journey, but there's such a strong mental image attached to the idea of someone who uses crystals. Like, there's instantly this mental picture that comes to mind whenever you think of someone who uses crystals, and I don't think that that is wholly accurate. I think it's a stereotype that does not fit every person. I definitely don't feel like it fits me, and yet I am someone who has crystals around me all of the time, and I love to use them, and I have a different perspective on them than I think most people do. And if you're someone who feels attracted to crystals but has kind of been turned off by the stereotype that is attached to the idea of someone who has them, then maybe this will kind of help you see that there is a way through that and that you don't have to be a certain type of person or subscribe to a certain lifestyle to have crystals and appreciate them. Some people believe that crystals are these mystical, magical stones that are just brimming with this universal power that you can use to, influence your life in all of these powerful ways. I will be the first to admit that I don't believe that that is the case at all. I think it is far more intrinsic than that, and that's what I'm hoping we can get into here. In the video that I made all about crystals, I did go into their meanings and the different properties that they are purported to have, and I think it can be useful to know those, even if you don't believe that, say, an amethyst crystal is going to give you this gateway pathway to your higher self. It can be useful to know the meaning behind it, because I think being aware of their meanings can help you channel whatever it is that you are working towards. So how do I use crystals in my everyday life? Do I believe they have these mystical abilities? No. Do I believe that they have the power to influence my moods in everyday life? No. It's much simpler than that. I view them as tools, touchstones that I can use to focus my attention on whatever it is that I am working towards. For example, I keep a chunk of citrine in my wallet next to my money and my credit and debit cards. Citrine is purported to attract wealth and abundance and is seen as a money stone. So I see that chunk of citrine in my wallet and I know what it is attributed to do, and it reminds me of the fact that I am the one in control of my finances and that I am responsible for creating my wealth. I am responsible for managing my money and not letting my money manage me. So the end result of that is it kind of triggers that mental response every time I see it. Is the stone bringing more money into my life? No, not in the strictest sense, but it is reminding me to be careful with my spending and to recognize the value of money and to treat it with respect. So in that way, it kind of does have that effect, just in a more roundabout way and not in the way that a lot of people would think. Another example is that I like to use quartz when I meditate. Quartz is known for enhancing any intention that you may have, and so I like to use it as a touchstone when I meditate, just to remind me that I am here in this present moment. It's something physical for me to hold on to. It's something to keep me coming back to myself and reminding me of what I am doing and reminding me of my breath and everything that you do when you are meditating. The quartz in and of itself isn't having this power over me to make me a better meditator, but it is something physical that I can hold on to, and because of the fact that I know that many people believe it enhances your intention, I can use that as a reminder to focus myself on what I am doing in that present moment. And the last example that I will give, even though there are many and we could go on all day, is amethyst. Amethyst is my absolute favorite stone, and I actually found out not too long ago that amethyst is associated with my astrological sign Capricorn. And whether or not you believe in astrology or not, I'm not exactly sure where I fall on it myself. I still think it's really, really cool that it's associated with that sign, and I didn't even know that when I first felt drawn to amethyst. I've always loved amethyst. And amethyst is supposed to connect you to your intuition and your higher self, and I have it in this ring right here. And so every time I see it, I'm reminded of the fact that I am moving through my life, I am in this present moment, and I am responsible for creating my existence. This is my space to occupy. I am not a believer that any one thing, any object or item can magically do anything for you. And when we ascribe a result or an outcome to something, whether it be crystals or tarot or prayer cards or rosary beads or whatever the case may be, what we're really doing is transferring our own ability to influence and take charge of our life to an object. We're saying it's this object that's doing this for me, it's not me. I could never be capable of these things. I would be lost if it weren't for this thing, whatever it is. And that's kind of a shame, and I wish that people would avoid doing that, because we are powerful beings who are capable of doing anything that we set our minds to. When I was younger, my dad told me that anything your mind can conceive and believe in, your body can achieve. And that's a key point of manifestation. And let me know if you'd like me to do a video about that. But I have held on to that belief ever since, and I hold it in my core, and I know that anything that I want to achieve, I can achieve, and I can use all of these different things to help get me there. But at the end of the day, it's myself working in tandem with the universe and with God to get me there. It's not this thing that is just so magical and wonderful. It would be nice if it were that way. It'd be nice if we could just, go on Etsy and buy a crystal and it would solve all of our problems, but it doesn't work that way. That's just not the way the world works and not the way the universe works. I view crystals as a means to an end, as a tool. They bring me back to myself because they are so physical and tangible. I can hold it in my hand and it brings to mind a very specific mental image and an idea. And I think they're incredibly useful in that way. Of course, the good news about this is that you don't necessarily have to use crystals if you don't want to. There's no law that says that you have to. There's no reason to use them if you don't want to, because the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it all comes from inside of you. They're nothing more than a device, a means to an end, and you can use anything. You could use any object to achieve that. I think that crystals just have an appeal and an attraction for a lot of people, and that's why they're so popular and why so many people love them. It's definitely why I love them. Now, I hope that I am pretty clearly conveying the ideas that I'm trying to get across here. I recognize the fact that if this is a new concept to you, then you might think that I sound a little bit crazy. I hope not. I hope that I'm getting across the fact that we are capable of doing anything we set our minds to, and we don't need any one thing to get us there. And if you want to use crystals, you can, and you don't have to be worried about the stereotype that's attached to them because it's not accurate or true. That's the bottom line for everything that I want to get across. But I think it might be easier for me to have this perspective of things because of how I was raised. I was raised in a very Catholic household, and if you know anything about Catholics, you know that we have our churches and our statuary and our prayer beads and prayer cards and medals and everything else. It's a very complex, complicated religion with a lot going into it, and we rely on things like rosary beads and prayer cards and medals and everything else to get us into a certain mindset and help us pray and focus. And so for me, it's not so much of a stretch of the imagination to get myself from that point to seeing crystals in the way that I do. It's a pretty natural progression. So if that helps you understand where I'm coming from a little bit, that's why I throw that in there. That's really it for this video. I just thought it might be helpful to put it out there for any of you who are attracted to crystals and want to use them. I thought that it would give an interesting, different perspective from what you are most likely to find on YouTube and social media in general, especially right now with spirituality being so trendy trendy and so popular. So I hope that it helps, and I hope you'll let me know down in the comment section what your thoughts are. I am definitely going to be returning to this topic at a later date in some way, shape, or form, so stay tuned for that. If you haven't, you should subscribe. I love each and every one of my subscribers, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here. So please do hit that subscribe button, turn on post notifications, all that good stuff. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you soon for the next video, whenever and wherever that may be. Bye guys.